So anyways, hey, how you doing? It's so great to see you. Make sure you're sharing this. Invite everyone. Yes, I'm here. I'm here for you because this is amazing, incredible. So anyways, raise your hand if you can hear me okay. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, awesome. And then Lillian, you're going to go ahead and share it with the Facebook group as well. In the meanwhile, yep, share this. We're going to start literally in about 1 or 2 minutes because I want to attract more people in here and share this. So make sure you're sharing this with people. All right, Galaxy J5 Pro, amazing. Who's Galaxy J5 Pro? What's your name? Coach Omar. Hey, dude, so good to see you, buddy. It's incredible to see you. Danny, we got Betty Ford, fantastic. Craig, John Carr. All right, yeah, all right, this is amazing. Elizabeth, and yes, the amazing Lillian Ning. And by the way, show your beautiful selves. Oh my goodness, my friends. Oh, Lisa, okay, Lika, turn off the blockage of the camera for you. Show yourself because you're powerful, you're beautiful. Oh, there's Genevieve. Yes. Oh, all of you go get her book. You want to talk about awesome power, passion, and pajamas. Wow, incredible, amazing. So yeah, we're going to start in just a few minutes, but by all means, Aaron, it's so awesome that your camera's on. Fantastic. Thank you. I like my haircut too. It's really good. And we're going to be tapping into this in just a moment. We're going to be digging into the power of a powerful mindset. All right. So in terms of what we're studying, you all know what we're studying. It's this here, which is Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And then this other book, which is Think and Grow Rich, which Ramy got all of the principles from, Think and Grow Rich. So make sure that you have this one because this is what we're going to be going through and we're going to be digging into. All right. So anyways, have all of you shared this with people? Really, let's go. Let's take a couple minutes here just to share this. Say, hey, come on into this call because this is definitely something that can change your life. By the way, has it changed your life? Raise your hand if this has been changing your life, right? Right. So think about that, my friends. If it's changing your life, I think we need to spread the word, right? We need to spread the word beautifully and help other people to see this too. All right. Yes, I know. Yes. Isn't that right? Yes. So let's all tap into that and again, share this with more people as we go. Now, in terms of where I am, guess where I am? I'm in New York City. In New York City, I just left the Carnegie Mansion and I stepped away from that to come here for you because you are important. Okay. I made a promise that I was going to be here, that I was going to make it work. So guess what? I made it work. And that's a really big deal. It's a huge deal. So Lillian, if you can make sure that everyone's muted, that would be fantastic. All right. And then go from there. But anyways, again, I'm here in New York City.
Wait, Troy.
Oh, you unmuted me.
Sorry.
You muted everybody, but you.
Sorry.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, we can have so much fun with this, right? All right. So Lillian is here. She's helping me. Lillian Ning, amazing, beautiful, powerful woman. Oh, you want to talk about someone who really immerses in what Ramy teaches and what is taught in Think and Grow Rich as well. Lillian is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Okay, very powerful. So anyways, yeah, again, we're here. I'm here for you. And there's some reminders I want to give you. Okay, some important reminders for all of you. And if you could take notes about this, because this is really important, my friends. It's extremely important. All of this that's being shared with you, everything that was written here in this book, of which Ramy got it from this book, that's knowledge. He's sharing you with his story. Having said this, it's so important for you to recognize and understand that knowledge is not power. All of you write that in your notes. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. And the only way that it becomes power is if you use it in your life. See, you've got to apply it. You've got to apply it in your life. Okay, so you've got to use it. Okay, so and then go from there. Let me make sure this is muted here, so we'll go from there. All right, so I see that. Okay, good. So you got to use this information. You've got to apply it. If you don't apply it, it's not going to serve you in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to help you. Okay. All right. So the chapter that we're going to be going over with this book here is chapter 10, which is bigger than I ever was. Okay, bigger than I ever was. And if you remember from last week when we went over this, we were talking about how there was a big comeback that was overcome from Ramy. Okay, it's a big, beautiful comeback. Remember, he was institutionalized twice. He lost everything. He only had $21 to his name. He was homeless in the streets. He didn't even have clothes, but then he was led to have clothes. Okay. The point is that he was at a spot. Now, why that's important for you right now to dig into is that he brought that in as part of the story to share with you that it doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what your current situation, conditions, or circumstances are. What matters is whether or not you're going to move forward. Now think about that, my friends. What matters is, what are you going to do? How are you going to think? Which is going to, comes from how you're going to think, right? How you're going to think leads to what you're going to do. And that's a big deal. I was actually talking on the phone with him recently, and he made a really funny comment, but I really want you to think about this, my friends. He said, I think we should just make it mandatory for everyone to hit rock bottom. And I started laughing, but I started to think about that. And, I realized, what, that's actually not a bad idea, because the growth that I have experienced, the best growth that I've experienced, came from my challenges. They came from when I was at my lowest. I mean, again, look around you in your life, you'll realize that throughout all of humanity, the greatest advances in human history have come from crisis. And this is a big deal, my friends. And I'm going to share something with you that's tied into everything that we've been learning from Ramy. When you see someone that's going through a situation, maybe it's not a good situation for them. And it's not easy with regards to that. Just look at it and say, wow, okay, congratulations. Literally, congratulations. Now grow. And that's a wonderful, powerful mindset to consent to when you can think from that way. Okay. And really, again, soak in what I'm talking about here. Okay. Because that's going to be a really big deal. All right. So what I want to do here is I want to go into the book. But before we dig into the chapter, I want to tap into some things that were from the previous chapter. And there's two specific things. There's some growth things that are here from this book. And then also there are, some powerful things to soak in and that you've got to use. All right. So let me share this with you. And then I'll go ahead and put it on the screen. But bear with me just for a moment here, because I want to take care of something here. Okay. So hold on just a second. Let me make an adjustment here. 1 second here. And by the way, if I keep, John Carr, I'm muting you on purpose here because I can hear the clicking on the background. So please don't unmute it again. And then we can call you up later on this. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share this with you. And then we're going to tap into this and it's going to come on the screen. Here we go. All right, so here we go. Okay, so. All right, so this comes from the end of the last chapter. And by the way, can you see this on the screen? Raise your hand if you can see this on the screen in terms of what's being shared. Okay, the book. It's a little bit different. Can I see your hands raised? Is it good? You can't see it? Okay, hold on a second. Let me make sure it's right. Let me, let's see. Lillian, if you can unpin me and so that this sharing can happen on the screen. Okay, hold on a second. Let me switch it up. Share content, share screen. Start broadcast. Oh, that's what it was. I did push the button. All right, now I know you can see it, right? All right, here we go. You can see that. Okay, good. Okay, so again, this comes from the previous chapter. It's the end of the chapter, in chapter 9. But what I want you to soak in is, using it. You got to use it. If you don't use this information, nothing in your life is going to change. Okay. And then on top of that, you have to use it enough times until it becomes automatic in your way of thinking. Okay. You've got to use it enough times. So listen to what it said here. And again, we talked about this before. So your world will become what you choose to make it. Okay. You can reach great heights of success, or you can settle for a miserable life that is devoid of hope. Now, again, what I want to emphasize here is that Ramy put this in the book because it's important. There was a question here asking if Ramy is going to be here. He can pop in here, but you know what? You want to hear the truth? Ramy is here right now in this book. He's here right now. And as a matter of fact, the one thing I want to also point out as well is all the solutions for everything that you seek is actually written in the book if you dig into it and just pay close attention to how he's thinking. Okay, how he's thinking. So he may or may not, I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, so anyways, let's dig into this. Okay, so now let's dig into this again. Your world will become what you choose to make it. Okay, you can reach great heights of success, or you can settle for a miserable life that is devoid of hope. See, the choice is yours. It says it point blank here. The choice is yours. When you choose a positive course, you set in motion an unstoppable force that will allow you to have a fulfilling career, the love of your family and friends, good physical and mental health, and all of the other riches of life. Now, my emphasis here is this: when you choose. When you choose thoughts that are in harmony with how you would love to live, that's when all of the goodness that you seek will come into your life. And it's when you choose it enough times until it becomes automatic in your way of thinking. Now, soak that in. This is huge, my friends. Now, remember, I'm going to remind you of this over and over again. All of this stuff I'm sharing with you, the reason why he put this in here is because it was important. He felt it was extremely important to convey this to you because this is how he thinks. This is not what he thinks. This is how he thinks. And then he points out, and Napoleon Hill points out, because that's what this part's from, to change your world, you must begin with yourself. To change your world, you must change from the inside out. You must begin with yourself. I know I skipped a little part of that sentence. But again, soak in what I'm saying here. Soak up what's being shared here. You've got to change what's happening on the inside if you want the outside to change. When he's pointing out yourself, what he's talking about is that automatic narrative that's inside of you. It's what you believe to be true. It's the habits you have. You must change what's inside of you first. All of you write this in your notes. You've heard me say this many, many times. My outer world is a reflection of what's happening in my inner world. It's a perfect reflection of what's happening in your inner world. It's not a shoddy reflection. No, it's a perfect reflection. And in terms of what's in your inner world, what is it? Your inner world's a world of thought. More specifically, automatic thought. And that automatic thought is rooted in your beliefs. It's rooted in your habits. See, that is what's in your inner world. a fun thing that I love to share with people that's tied to this is, you really want to know what's happening in your inner world? Would you love a practical way to see what you believe to be true and the habits that you have? It's so simple, my friends. Just look at your results, because your results tell the truth about what your conditioning is, what you believe to be true, the habits you have. Now, again, soak this in. To change your world, you must change from the inside out. You must begin with yourself. All of you write this in the first person. Type it in the first person. This is so important. And I love doing this. You should exercise this as you're studying. Whenever it says you, shift it to I or me. It changes the dynamic beautifully. Let's read and feel what this sounds like. To change my world, I must change it from the inside out. I must begin with myself. And he goes further to point out, when you choose the course that puts your life on a positive track, you will change your life for the better. And you will also positively influence the people with whom you come in contact. People will come to you. They'll be attracted to you. You'll see big changes in your life. Remember, it's like attracts like. It's not opposites attract. Now, another thing I want to pull into here as well was this other piece here, this reflection that Ramy pulled up. My own success touches the lives of many people. A burning desire can result in a multitude of different riches. A burning desire is something that's just calling out to you in a big, beautiful way. See, that's what will help determine the result of the riches you seek. And by the way, if you don't have something that's burning within you right now, my suggestion for you is to seek it. And you can get there by just asking some really simple questions, a really beautiful question. Actually, it's a powerful question too. You know, if anything is possible, what would I love? What would give me a tremendous amount of joy if that was a material fact? That's what, there's another woman here, Genevieve. That's what she did with, she saw some kids that weren't being treated, nicely, who were, they were put into a situation where they were by themselves, and she got attached to them and wanted to help them. And then she saw, wow, I need to help these kids. And then she saw they didn't have pajamas. And there was this little girl that she was wanting to give pajamas to the little girl. And then the little girl didn't know what they were. She didn't know what it was. But then afterwards, she went up to that little girl. And then it turns out that the little girl, this is what the little girl said. She says, don't you want these pajamas? And the little girl said, what are pajamas? And all she could think about was the love that she had with her kids, tucking her kids in and them having pajamas. And this little girl didn't have that kind of love. And so, you know what? There was this burning desire inside of her, which led her to, oh my gosh, to distribute 7 million pajamas to kids. Think in terms of the stuff that Ramy's pointing out too. See, he's got this burning desire inside. You must have that if you want to have the result of the multitude of different riches that you seek. Now let's go further. Now let's go into the chapter now, though. So again, the question is, how are you going to use it? So now we're going to dig into the chapter, bigger than I ever was. Okay. So here we go. From 2016 until today in 2021, I achieved goals that most people thought I simply could not reach, especially after losing my fortune and mental stability. Now let's just dig into this paragraph here. Okay. He achieved goals that most people literally said was impossible. All of you write this in your notes. Impossible is an opinion. Okay. But there were lots of people that were saying that, that's not possible. That's impossible. Oh my gosh. See, most people live their lives based off the evidence of their senses. See, they didn't see what was inside of him. They didn't see he was imagining to be true. They didn't understand what his habits were, what his beliefs were. It's just that something happened where there was a disengagement from the focus. But what happened? He was able to refocus from how he wanted things to be, and then that resulted in him achieving a goal that most people thought he simply couldn't reach. But again, the thing I want to emphasize here is notice how he was thinking. And then he goes to say, but when I returned to my path, which now was headed towards an extraordinary life, I quickly and decisively built other companies and partnered in new ventures. Now, again, think about what's happening in his mind. He returned to his path. Remember, before in the previous chapter, he fused with a vision for himself, right? And then because he was headed towards that extraordinary life, because that was in the vision for himself, to have the incredible wealth necessary for an extraordinary life, what happened? He quickly and decisively built other companies and partnered in new ventures. Now, there's a word I want you to pay attention to in this paragraph. And that word is decisively. He was decisive. He didn't sit around and think about it per se. He made a decision. And you know what's really cool? In Think and Grow Rich, there's actually a whole chapter on decision. Okay. Having said this, in the experience with Ramy through this book, through his life, he's sharing with you again how he was thinking. He was decisive. He moved into action. He didn't wait. He quickly and decisively built other companies and partnered in new adventures. Now, again, notice thought process. Okay? Thought process. Now, resetting the millions mindset to billions. He says, my private equity firm, X LLC, is moving forward to raise billions of dollars to launch more extremely successful companies. Rather than brag about the future, the proof is in what I actually accomplish. Now think about that. That's a result. Having said this, we're going to tap into the resetting the millions mindset to billions. See, now remember, today he's in the billions mindset, but he had to shift from the mindset of millions. And again, this is extremely important for all of you. Because it's in the shift of your mindset that the results in your life will change. Now let's go further. Constant development. I love this. I developed PDQ Pickup that took advantage of weaknesses in delivery logistics. The company has grown exponentially during the COVID crisis and currently is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, why is he sharing this stuff? He wants you to see his results. Now here, EV Mobility, a company that is deploying electric vehicles in apartment buildings and hotels as amenities for residents and guests, is anticipated to build a fleet of over 20,000 cars in the next 2 years and is estimated to soon be worth more than $2 billion. Now, I want you to again soak this in, my friends. Those are results. Remember, your results tell the truth about what's going on in your mind, more particularly what your mindset is. And the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because I want to share, he's sharing with you clearly his results because he wants you to see that it's through the mindset that he had, that he was able to get there. Yes, the things you do are important. They're extremely important. Having said this, you've got to be able to get into that mode, that power to be able to take those actions. And the only way you're going to do that is with the mindset behind it. Think about how many, for instance, courses that are out there, or to go do this, or to go do that, or go do this, of which gives the correct mechanics. But you know that the overwhelming majority of people who take those courses, they fail miserably, not because the mechanics are wrong, but because they don't have the proper mindset. And here, again, he's sharing with you his results to demonstrate to you what's in his mind. Now, expansion of media projects. Here's some more. Through extraordinary live entertainment, I created and produced the Las Vegas Show 27, which showcases the great musicians who died at 27, such as Robert Johnson, Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, and Amy Winehouse. By the way, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? All these people who died at 27. Against the odds. Okay, here we go. Listen to that. Listen to that sentence. Against the odds. That means all the proof was saying no. I obtained residency at the New Virgin Hotel, where 27 has become the most popular show in Las Vegas. I plan through extraordinary life entertainment, he says, to produce several more shows and establish a record label to develop new artists. Now, by the way, I've seen 27, this show over at his place, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. The singer's pretty darn cool. But having said this, now think about this. These are results. Here's a picture of music that changed the world, 27, an ultimate tribute concert, music lives on Robert Johnson, Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. Here's the crew flying, getting ready to get on his plane to go fly over there, the cast on the way to actually to San Francisco. Now, in terms of this is what I really want you to really soak in, my friends. All of this was in his mind as an image. It was a picture. It was something that he fused with. He focused from it. He gave it all his attention. And then from there, he delivered the result. Remember, the world that we live in is not a physical world. This here is a result. This is the manifestation of his thought. He literally thought it into a result. And it was his mindset that did it. Now listen to this. And again, I want you to apply this to what was shared from what we just saw and what I've been sharing with you in terms of, how results happen. Okay. This is huge. This is a beautiful gem from Think and Grow Rich, which is super, super cool. It's all a matter of attitude. Matter of fact, all of you write that down in your notes. It's all a matter of attitude. Whose attitude? Yours. As you grow and develop, make sure your experience is directed towards the acquisition of wisdom, not the acceptance of cynicism. Wisdom. If you find it difficult to keep an open mind because of previous experiences, remind yourself that you're dealing with different people. That conditions have changed, or that because you are older and wiser, your chances of success are greater than the past. This is huge, my friends. This little nugget right here, which is a freaking great nugget. All of you take a screenshot of this. This is so important, my friends, because there's a lot of people I run into, and I was one of them, okay, who when I was approaching 50, I was thinking everything was done. I go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I haven't done what I was supposed to do. I was thinking about all the things that I didn't do. And then I ran into this video from this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and he says, so you think that's happening to you, and you think that it's all finished, and then he starts to put it into perspective. He puts it into perspective, and he states, think about how, say you are approaching 50 or whatever, and we'd started working when you were 20. And all the way to 50, whatever it is, that's 30 years, right? And today we're most likely going to live, all of us, right? Probably about 80, 90 years old, right? But if you were at that 50 mark, you can think in terms of that. And if you look forward in terms of what the average is, you'll realize that there's a whole nother 20 to 30 years in front of you. Now think about this. That's a whole new career. That's a whole new life, of which you have what? You have wisdom. You know what you have if you're in that situation that the young people don't? Young people, they have the time, but really none of us know how much time we have left. But what you have that they don't have is wisdom. And you could use that to help you. And that's a big deal. Take a screenshot of this. This is very important, my friends. But again, the reminder for you with regards to this is it's not going to help you unless you use it in your life. It's not going to be enough for you to say, oh, I know that. What you know doesn't matter. What matters is what you do, and that comes from what you understand. See, what matters is what you understand. What's amazing is you got this beautiful man here who's sharing his wisdom. And I'm just so grateful. So grateful. Even within Napoleon Hill. Now check this out. Make sure I'm missing something here. I need to go to this reflection first. Now this is beautiful. Remember, these reflections come directly from Ramy. Okay. And by the way, when you read this, if you will, a really great way to study, and I'll remind you of this as well, is when you get into a book, before you get into the book, before you ever open it, enter into the spirit of it and ask yourself, like for instance, in this case, Ramy, what are you really wanting me to see? What are you wanting me to understand? If you will enter into a book that way, oh my gosh, a lot will change for you. So check this out, reflection. I approach people with an honest attitude of learning. To bring them into a new vision requires that I first know what theirs is. Now, again, I want you to pay attention to the thought process. He's sharing with you how he thinks, which has yielded the results that we've just shared with you. In his mindset, part of what's permanent, what he's planted in there, what's rooted there is this. I approach people with an honest attitude of learning. To bring them into a new vision requires that I first know what theirs is. He listens. Think about that. Take a screenshot of this. Use this. Let's go to the next page. I love this. This is really cool. A plane is never just a plane. This is pretty cool. I love this. Here we go. Let's look at this. That's his jet right now. Wide body jet, which is really beautiful. There's the inside of it. And it is really that beautiful. Now, listen to what he says here. Now, remember, pay attention to how he's thinking. Not what he's thinking, how he's thinking. I learned early on from Adnan Khashoggi that a plane is one of the most powerful business tools that an entrepreneur can own. My current wide-body jet with a bedroom, shower, and seating for 19 people is superior to my previous one because of its 10 extra fuel tanks, can be deployed to any location in the world. Now, here in the beginning part of this paragraph is what? I learned early on from Adnan Khashoggi that a plane was the most powerful business tools that an entrepreneur can own. So embedded within his mindset was that he has that, and that he is living an extraordinary life, which means that's just normal for him. Besides acquiring a new, better jet and moving back into my former house in the Hollywood Hills, I located my original 1987 De Tomaso, which I had restored to its former glory. And that car is a beast. It is a friggin' beast. That thing is so loud. It is really loud. But think about that. He located his original one. That is, oh my gosh, soak this in, my friends. He didn't have it. He had it before, but then it was sold and gone, and he found it. He found it, the original one that he had, and then he restored it. There's not many of these made in the world. There aren't many of them. And he brought it back into his life. Again, see, that's the result. And there it is. It's a beautiful car. And again, it's really, really loud. It's pretty awesome. Now, listen to what he says here. Since Adnan Khashoggi's death in 2017, no one has been able to step in as a power broker whom world leaders can trust. Certainly, there are now objectively richer people, but he deployed his wealth to negotiate mega deals between large corporations and heads of state. In my years with him, I learned these strategies essential for this level of success and remain one of the few people in the world who knows how to create and even surpass his accomplishments while striving for a truly extraordinary life. Now, I want you to soak in what I just read there. Think about what he just says there. He's one of the few people in the world who doesn't know this, who understands this. You know what? There are tons and tons of people who know this. There are literally hundreds of millions. There are billions of people who know this, but I got news for you. There are only a few who understand it. How do you know if someone understands it? Just look at the results. They tell the truth. And remember, results are the effect. The cause is how one thinks. So one of my main goals moving forward is to fill the void that Adnan left behind by becoming a power broker on his level. I have no doubt, he says, that I will accomplish this much and much more. Now, I want you to notice a sentence here in this paragraph here. I have no doubt that I. What does that mean is not in his life? You know what it means? It means that there's no fear in his life, because that's where fear comes from. Worry, doubt, worry, doubt. But he says, I have no doubt. I have no worry also as well. It's actually between the lines there. But it doesn't exist. You know why? Because he understands. Because he's used this in his life. Now, I want to emphasize it, because he used this in his life enough times until it became automatic in his way of thinking. I'm going to say this again. Now, again, pay attention to what's happening in his mind, his thought process. Okay. I have no doubt that I will accomplish this and much, much more. See, that's a powerful mindset. There's no, this is so cool. Think about this, my friends. When he says that, he's not even thinking about it in terms of whether or not something great's going to happen, because it's automatic in him to be that way. But again, how did he do that? How did he establish that inside of him? See, it was through the application of the principles that he studied. It was through the use of them over and over and over again until they became automatic in his way of thinking. Now let's go further. Now listen to this, my friends. This is so important. All of this is important. One of the most common mistakes is making excuses to explain why we do not succeed. Excuses. His first chapter on alibis is crazy awesome good. Now think about this. One of the most common mistakes, and when he says common, we're talking about the overwhelming majority of people who use what's called common sense, okay? Don't think with common sense, because common sense is full of dumb, limiting ideas that deliver common results. If you don't want common results, don't think with common sense. Having said this, one of the most common mistakes, again, is making excuses to explain why you weren't successful at doing this or doing that. Don't make excuses. Fine, you mess up, move forward, take action, make an adjustment until you find the plan that works. And so don't say, I wasn't able to do this because of whatever. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people in the world of those who do not succeed are excuse makers. It's interesting. I'm going to share something with you. Big deal, because, this week was quite packed for the stuff that I needed to do. And it was very important for me to be here at this call. But there was lots of reasons for me not to be here. But I said, no, I'm going to be here. I promised I would be here. I'm not going to make an excuse to not be here. And I realized that sometimes that even gets in me, but we all have to make decisions and move forward, understanding that the choices are always ours. It's always your choice. It's always my choice. It's always everyone's choice. And that's your greatest power. It says that they try to explain their actions or inactions with words. When you succeed, accept congratulations of others with good grace. When you fail, take responsibility for your actions, learn from your mistakes, and move on to the more constructive things. You know what I've learned tremendously in a very short period of time, just from studying this, was how important that sentence is right there. And through just, the talking with Ramy and just reading his book, and it's amazing, because you can see that that's automatic in his way of thinking. It's fascinating to see. I'm just like because with me when I go through my stuff, when I see situations happening, stuff like that, yes, is it easy sometimes for me to be influenced by that's going wrong or that didn't happen, and then all of a sudden I start telling myself this foolish story, of which is just coming from my conditioning. But then when I speak to him, he says, "Oh, okay," and then he says, "Whatever, just move forward." I hear in him, "Okay, well, what you gonna do? How is it gonna be fixed? What's the action you're gonna take?" But there's no what's the word? There's no, I should say, fusing with what the circumstance or condition or result is. Okay, he operates. He just says he's always like thinking from moving forward. So again, think about this. When you succeed, accept congratulations of others with good grace. When you fail, bam, take responsibility. That's my fault, nobody else's. I own it. And then learn from your mistakes. And then move on to more constructive things. There's a beautiful way of going through this, and the 3 beautiful steps. And if you write this down, this will be really great for you. When you look at something, whatever it is what it is. Number 1. Number 2, harvest the good. Number 3, forgive the rest. Okay. Move forward. When your actions are appropriate in every circumstance, you will never feel the need to explain with words. Your actions will say all that needs to be said. And by the way, that's really important, my friends. Huge. Huge, my friends. Take a screenshot of this and write this out. Decide how you're going to be. Decide who you're going to be. And then move forward. Now, a reflection. All of you take a picture of this. Oh my God, this is amazing. Take a picture of this. Who is it that needs to be removed, by the way? Is there someone disrupting in here? Okay, good. Yeah. All of you type this in the comments. I love this. All of you type this in the comments. There's nothing more expensive than a closed mind. There's nothing more expensive than a closed mind. Okay. Yeah. See, this is so cool. All of you are saying thank you, right? See, this like attracts like. Opposites don't attract. Okay. Again, I love saying that. Paula Abdul was wrong. There's nothing more expensive than a closed mind. Those with closed minds, you know what? They keep with their same way of thinking, and guess what happens to them? They find themselves beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. So you have to be a learner. You have to open your mind to new ways of thinking if you want your life to change. Now, let's dig into this reflection, okay? If I focus on all the what? All the think and grow rich principles for success, I never will be tempted to resort to an alibi. Now, listen to this carefully. This is so important, my friends. Wow, this is so important. Okay. Notice how in the first chapter of his book, he deals with no alibis. Because he wants you to see, first of all, before we start this, don't give yourself any excuses to not succeed. And you remember some of those excuses that we went over, of which the overwhelming majority of the population consent to. I can't because if I only had the money, if I only had the time, if I only had the resources, blah, 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 blah. But what does he point out here? says, if I focus on all the Think and Grow Rich principles for success, the principles are the 13 principles, all the chapters, and basically live from them, is what he's saying, I never will be tempted to resort to an alibi. See, again, he's sharing with you what's set in his mind. It's his way of thinking, of which delivered the results that he's freely shared with you. Now think about that, my friends. You can look at it, when you're going through whatever it is you're going through, when you have that beautiful vision for yourself, how much of you is consenting to the alibis? And if you are, decide to shut it down until it becomes automatic in your way of thinking. And by the way, I want to remind you from the previous thing that we read here, and it's, let's say you are acting on it, and again, it doesn't work out. Don't give the excuse of this or this or this. Again, what does he say here? When you fail, take responsibility. Take responsibility, own it, and then learn from the mistakes. Learn from it. And here I want to emphasize also something in terms of learning. See, when do you learn from it? When you learn from it, it's going to be through your moving through it and going through it. And by the way, if you don't learn from the mistake, it will happen again. And it will keep on happening until you've learned from it. Now, again, no alibis. All of you pay close attention to this. Again, this is extremely important, my friends. No alibis. Now, notice what he's saying here. I had to start over many times in my life. He didn't say a few times. He said many times, a lot. I have not used any excuse or alibis that often block progress on the path of success. So in other words, he's taking ownership for, it not working out. He said, okay, it's my fault, I did it. But then what did he do? He makes the shift. He goes, well, that didn't work. He fell down, BFD, right? Big freaking deal, right? And he said, well, I'm just going to get back up. And I'm going to move forward. I have not used any excuses or alibis that often block progress on the path of success. I overcame lack of education and money, intense criticism, a fight with the government, prescription drugs, and even death. Remember, he died. They brought him back to life. Now, those are some pretty big things in relation to what most people have lived in terms of their circumstances, right? But again, the emphasis is he had to start over. Now, again, pay attention. What kind of mindset does it take to be able to do that? Let's see, there has to be belief, there has to be persistence, there has to be decisiveness. There has to be definiteness of purpose. Starting over with absolutely nothing, I was able to rebuild wealth to the hundreds of millions and soon to be in the billions. I was able to succeed in the face of adversity without making any excuses for failure. Now, again, pay close attention to how he is thinking. He's sharing with you his mind in this book. He's sharing with you what's going on inside. He's sharing with you his belief system. He's sharing with you his habitual way of thinking. Alibis, doesn't accept them. He owns it, moves forward, makes the adjustment, goes. He understands that when you meet with failure, all it means is that you haven't met with the plan that is practical and workable. He understands that. He's sharing this with you. And because he understands that, when there's a situation that goes wrong, oh, just adjust the plan, adjust the plan, adjust the plan, adjust the plan. If you adjust it enough times, you'll find the answer. You'll eventually get there if you're persistent, if you're focusing from your goal. I mean, what most people do? Most people say, "Oh, I've tried everything. I've tried everything. It's not working." I got news for you. Most people, they don't try everything. If they tried everything, the person would have what they want. Why? Because everything is included in this. I mean, the solution is included in everything. But most people just try one or two or three things. They fall down, fall down, fall down. Oh, I've had enough. Then they don't adjust their plan. But don't be like that. You don't have to be like most people. So again, he started over from absolutely nothing. And now it's dramatically different. Now listen to this paragraph here. If you believe in yourself and follow the principles laid out in Think and Grow Rich, as well as the keys I have found during my life, there is nothing to stop you from achieving an extraordinary life of success too. Another way to say this is what I've been sharing with you before. If you'll just consent to how I've been thinking, if you'll just consent to believing in yourself the way that I believe in myself, if you'll just consent to being persistent, being decisive, having a definiteness of purpose, imagining great things and focusing strongly, you'll have an extraordinary life too. Because that's what he's saying. That's all I did. Think about that, my friends. That's what he's saying. That's all I did. All I did was just follow these principles. And because I followed these principles and I was loyal to my unseen reality, guess what? It happened. He's pointing out how you're not any different than him. He's an ordinary guy that did extraordinary things. And there's nothing to stop you from doing the same. But the only way that that's going to happen is if you shift who you are being. And who you are being is your character. This is the sum total of your thoughts. I'm going to read this again. This paragraph here is so important. This is so important, my friends. If you believe in yourself, powerful word from the good book, it is done unto you as you believe. Okay. If you believe in yourself and follow the principles laid out in Think and Grow Rich, what are the principles? They're all here. And they're demonstrated here in his book. They're demonstrated, key component, as well as the keys I have found during my life, of which, he shared with you lots of keys. Whenever there's a key in this book, there's a key right next to it. It's the keys that he shared in his life. Guess what? There's nothing to stop you. And by the way, check this out. All of you listen closely. Because what's stopping you is how you're thinking. See, if you start elevating how you're thinking, then how you have been thinking will never stop you. If you're loyal to it. Having said this, you can achieve an extraordinary life by changing your life, by changing how you're thinking. So it's in harmony that way. Now, again, it's what's in his mindset. That's a big deal, my friends. All of you writing your notes, no alibis, exclamation mark. Type it here in the comments. No alibis. And then next week, we're going to dig into chapter 11, my standard operating procedure. Wow, this is so good. Amazing. Let me stop sharing here real quick. Yeah, no alibis. No alibis. Amazing. How many of you got a lot from this? I hope you did. Type in the comments if you got a lot from this. I know there's a big chunk of people that aren't here because of the training here, but we need to get, more people have to get here, and I'm working on making a shift for that. We need more people. How many of you agree? Let me ask you this. How many of you agree that more people need to hear about this? Type in the comments me if you see that it's very clear that more people need to hear about this. Okay, I want to dig into something here really quick, okay? Because really soak this in. This is amazing information. All of us concur that it is incredible information, okay? And you're obviously using your life because you're here. Having said this, we need your help. We need your help to attract more people here. And one of the ways you can do that is on TikTok. There's Ramy's just started to launch this TikTok right now. We're starting to put stuff up there. It's called Win with Ramy. At Win with Ramy. Go to TikTok. First of all, go follow him there and then share that. And then on top of that, if you've been served beautifully by this, again, many of you raised your hands that you were. We have an army here that we can use to attract more people here. And by the way, there's no better way to pull in people organically by word of mouth, okay? Word of mouth is the best way, okay? So if this has been amazing for you, invite other people here, okay? winwithramy.com, okay? winwithramy.com. Register, share on Instagram. Hey, come on in. How many of you recognize that, oh my gosh, his heart's magnificent and beautiful? I mean, gosh, it's incredible. So let's attract more people here. And then I'm going to be working on making some shifts later. Lillian, I want to talk to you about ways to mastermind and get more people here, because these numbers have not been acceptable at all in terms of what's been here. It should be in the tens of thousands. How many of you agree with that? How many of you agree that the number of people that should be in this call with regards to what's being shared with her, it should be literally in the tens of thousands, even the hundreds of thousands? Well, guess what? We can do it with you. So let's do it. Let's get this movement started. It's a beautiful man who can show by example his results, right? Of which he's sharing with everyone how he did it. Oh my gosh, he freaking wrote a book. And remember, if you think in terms of both of these books are extremely important. One is the study of people who were successful, of which Napoleon Hill pulled out the principles and put it in the form of a book to help people who resent poverty. Came out in the time after during the Depression. Well, here is Ramy, who used the principles and proved it to work at a very large scale. So my thing for you is, listen, we can do a lot better. So again, first thing is go to Win with Ramy. Go to TikTok, winwithramy.com. We want to get some lives going on over there as well. And then also share this with people. Share this with people. Invite them into this wonderful, powerful, beautiful place. Okay? Amazing. The second circle is global. All right, so let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on here. Yes, everybody. How many of you are in? And And by the way, go beyond sharing it on Instagram. You guys go beyond sharing it on social media. Tell people the human connection. The human connection. Okay. Good. 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 Let's get this moving. Let's get this moving to be even better than it needs. It's just not, because this is definitely not acceptable. Don't like it. All right. We'll do. Good. 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 Amazing. Amazing. Yes, we can always do better, and we're going to do better every day. And then you can use Kuwai's statement: every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better, stronger and stronger, healthier and healthier, wiser and wiser. Okay, good. That's awesome, Cahill. All right, so let's see. Is anybody here who has any questions? If you want to raise your hands, we can go ahead and answer some questions here. From here, let's see what we got here. Let's see. I want to see what the comments are here. I didn't get a chance to read the comments. All right. Beautiful. Okay, the answer, Betty Flint. Yes, we're working on something to go deeper into this. Okay, by all means, we are. So Ramy is here right now, by the way. For all of you who have been loyal to being here, you got a wonderful surprise. So Ramy, let's pull you up here. If you could, let's put you on screen here real quick. All right, Ramy, where are you? Are you there?
Yeah, Matt.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Let's put you together. Lillian, can you put us together?
Absolutely. I think you guys are pinned together right now.
Okay,
screen.
good. Good.
Hi, Ramy.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hi, Troy. How are you?
Hi. Fantastic.
Great job. I just wanted to say just a couple of comments that you guys can take. Is that if you see this chapter is one of the shortest chapters, and again, I didn't want to brag about my success or talk about what I achieved afterward. Just give you a quick overview what I achieved, just because, as you say, Troy, it's a way I think to go into details and explain how I build these companies and a whole bunch of other things about all three of the companies and everything I do now. I don't think serves you as well as just understanding how I got there and the ups and downs, and showing the road is not straight and what you have to get there. That's why at the end, this chapter just examples of the successes I've had because of those principles, not to just throw in your face and say, oh, Ramy just wrote this book to show off. So that's why I kept it very short, just to give it to show what the results were from being absolutely nothing 5-6 years prior to where I've grown. I mean, I could write a chapter on every one of those companies, or even a book on every one of those companies, and what I had to do to get through to make them very successful. So again, it's really, this chapter just to show that, oh yeah, the principles do work. Everything that you read up to this chapter does mean something and does create what I got today, or what everybody can get. So I just really wanted to point that out. So even though it's an important chapter of almost a conclusion, the next chapter will be about how I think daily and stuff. It'll enhance what you were talking about how I think and the way I do things.
Yeah. A beautiful way to say what this in another way. He's not doing this to impress you. He's doing this to impress upon you that you can do it too.
That's a really good way of saying it. Perfect, Troy. I should learn from you more. But I'm excited about the people that are pretty loyal, that are here, that are just really paying attention, coming back every single week to really learn more and understand more about the journey and what it takes to become successful. And I know there's a few people with questions, so I want to give an opportunity for both of us to answer those questions. I think, and let's take a few questions and then. Okay,
good. So we'll take a couple, and so let's pull up Brendan Fernandere, I guess, right? Brendan, if you can go ahead and put yourself on camera, my friend. Brendan.
Hello.
All right. So we'll add you a spotlight. Good. Okay, are you on there? Here we go.
My question is for Ramy, just in like the process of becoming successful, do you have like lots of, how do you like maintain and keep relationships, or do you have any? And like how hard are you like how much, like I know you must be very focused when you're achieving what you want and when you're on the path to success. And does that leave any time for any type of like enjoyment of life while you're doing everything you need to do to accomplish your goals? So I guess those couple of questions, just like how is like how's your like relationship life, and how do you maintain that like with friends and stuff, and then how do you enjoy life at the same time?
Okay, good questions. One is like the old saying: if you enjoy the work you do, you're not really working. So I absolutely enjoy doing the business I do, and what I do is like it's like a game. I'm creating puzzles, I put together pieces and stuff like that. So I don't view it like I'm overworking or working too hard. I enjoy every moment of the process of what I'm going through. I have over time. I have definitely a 7,000 number Rolodex of people I can call and stuff. But it's better to keep closer. There's a fewer people that you really enjoy being with, and also part of the success. I don't know. We restarted that book, but I found somebody I fell in love with and chased her for almost 2 years, and now we're married. So I enjoy my wife. But I'm not perfect at relationships, so we have our issues here and there, but it's usually pretty good. So I do have that balance, and then when as I explained last week, also money gives you a lot of freedom, strength, confidence. So you're happier and you attract a lot of people. So there's a lot of conversations with people. I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, go to bed at at 12, 1 o'clock. And all of it is packed with time of either doing work or building relationships or enjoying my life, and also the stuff I do. I mean, how can you not enjoy? Like if you saw the picture of my plane, flying in that plane is like a flying apartment. Just getting on that plane and going to Guyana is so much fun and great pleasure, and especially if my wife joins me or other people, and there's a bedroom there, so there's benefits of having a bedroom, on a plane. So, there's like everything we do. I mean, it's I do have a couple of Bentleys, so I do enjoy driving my convertible on the beach, and then the other one when I have a driver, when I just want to enjoy, and it's usually more business tool, picking people up, taking them to the airplane and stuff. But if I want to take a trip to Vegas, you're taking in a way where it's very relaxing. People respect you more, so getting respect is enjoyable. Getting all that is so there's so much benefit to success that you can enjoy that part of it, and because you're much happier and more positive, more people are attracted to you, so you become a magnet of really positive, happy people. So, and you get to decide who you spend time with, but you could definitely have everything in between wealth and happiness and relationships.
Yeah. This is the big point, everyone, because there's a lot of people who think that you can't like have it all in terms of all of those elements. And the truth of the matter is that you can. And if it's not happening for you, it's just a matter of you changing your perspective and what you believe to be true. Because again, he just shared with you that he has that all. And that's a big deal, my friends. Huge what he just said right there. It's a big, you don't make it an this or that. I can't have a happy life if I have a really successful business, no, make it an and statement and accept it. And if you do, the change will happen. That's a beautiful share, Ramy.
Yeah. And keeping the mindset, even when you're struggling to get there, because you're thinking positive and you're going to get there, you can still feel
Uh-oh, we lost you.
I went broke 6 years ago and went through all that hell and everything. I lost all my contacts and people that we would really talk to. So even by the time I got to the hospital, believe it or not, I was there for almost a month. Only one person ever came and showed up to see if I was okay. So so you can come from that too and rebuild relationships or rebuild the way people think. But again, I was in a very negative state. So again, if you're in a negative state, you kind of like push people away. They don't want to be around that. So it's very important to stay in that state of mind that attracts people all the time.
Hey, Ramy, you just said something really interesting for me. Okay, you had all these other contacts, and then you said, then you obviously there was one person that was John Gray, but then you said you have this whole new Rolodex of like 700 people. There's all new contacts?
Well, it's a combination, like 7,000 people. So some old, some new, but you rebuild the ones that are old. And also during the time that I went through a really hard time, I kind of like disappeared from a lot of these people's life. So they didn't know I went through that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them to see I went through that. So later on, when I talked to them, it's like time passed and they missed that whole segment of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's huge. Everybody listen to what he just said there. Okay. They didn't know what he was going through in his life, right? But isn't it interesting? So they believed things were not really good, but then when they got additional information about what was happening, their belief about him changed. That's a huge thing, my friends. That is a big deal. And you know what else is really fascinating with this as well is that how, again, the list may have been lost, but then it was rebuilt. And now I'm assuming that it's stronger than it's ever been. I mean, right now it's probably stronger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's pretty freaking awesome. I think that's so good. Oh my gosh. Here, let me pull you back on the screen. All right, here we go. All right. So thank you so much, Brendan. I hope this helped you.
Yeah, it has. Thanks.
Okay, good. All right. So let me switch this and this so different when you're on a different system here to do that here. Okay, so add spotlight. Okay, there you are. Okay, now you're next to me. Cool. All right, let's see. Are there any other questions here? Let me get Brendan on the other place here. Here we go. Remove spotlight. Okay, who else has a question for Ramy? Okay, we got Nikki Chaplin. Here we go.
Yes. Hi, Ramy.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. We're so grateful. At least I'm very grateful that you're here and you're sharing so much wisdom.
No, my pleasure.
Troy shared before in one of the chapters that we ought to focus on gaining wisdom. And obviously, you epitomize that, you model that. My question for you is, how do you learn and how do you keep learning and how do you gain so much wisdom? Since that's what we're really supposed to be going for.
Right. Well, the bigger thing is keeping your mind open. The moment you think you know everything is when you stop learning. And if you start talking more than you're listening or paying attention, then you stop learning. So it's really, there's always more and more to learn no matter what you're doing. And so you're always hungry for information. You never get to a point where you're saying, okay, I know it all. I know I don't know as much as in many subjects in so many areas as some of the greats. So I know that I have to keep on learning. So you keep your mind open. And as I said in other chapters, your mind is like a radio station that you got to tune into the universe of different channels. So you focus and put some emotion behind what you want to learn. And that information comes in and you learn from people, what you see and things. And then also reading. Reading helps a lot too, which I don't do enough of, but I read more business journals and stuff that deals with business, but the first part of my life was a lot of the motivational things, inspirational things, until it became second nature. But it's really understanding, you're not paying attention to what's going on in the world and then work with that and learn all the time. So no matter how old I get, like still today, I still know I have to learn a lot. There's still a lot more, and I keep on learning every day. And doing that also keeps you young. I mean, it's like They say like children take in like if you're under 10, you take in almost 2,800 bits of new information every day. By the time you get to my age, you're down to 4 bits of information a day. So if you keep it open and keep on learning, you're active. I don't know if you've noticed when people retire, they start atrophy and they die a few years later. It's because they stopped learning, they shut down, they thought they didn't want to relax, but it's really the beginning of death when you decide to retire. So that's why I'll never retire.
Have you ever looked up what it means, retire, in the dictionary?
I didn't, but I think you mentioned it the last time.
Yeah,
but
it means to be put out of use.
Yeah.
That's so. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I don't get that whole rights in France when they wanted to increase 2 years from 62 or 64 for retirement age. It should be happy. It should be like forever high. Just one. Again, it's tied to free money. Once they retire, you get free money. So getting free money is no real benefit. You just exist.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ramy. Thank you. Thank you.
Really
oh, you're beautiful, Nikki. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's see. I got to switch it here. And let's see. Is there anybody else who has a question for Ramy? How about you, Lillian? Lillian just had a baby. I got to share something with you, Ramy. You're going to crack up. Lillian, let's put you on the screen. You got to hear this, Ramy. So she had a baby shower. Okay. A baby shower. She just had her baby. Lillian, are you here? Are you on screen? Hold on.
I'm here.
Okay, that's spotlight. Okay.
Hi, Lillian.
Okay. Guess what she gave away as baby party favors?
I know. Hopefully my book.
She gave away your book. She had a stack of books to give away at a baby shower.
No, that's great. I mean, I love the information being shared more and more. That's why I like giving things away. By the way, after her, I think Farhad had a question. He said,
okay.
But thank you for doing that. That means a lot that you care that much about the work and the material.
Yeah, and the cool part is, like, I would give it to a household. The husband will read it, the wife will read it. They'll come back to me about it. So it's really, really cool. So thank you, Ramy, for all the work that you do.
My pleasure.
And I also, Fahad, and I also see La Pose Sava have her hand up too. So we'll bring them.
So we'll go with those two, and then we'll bring it in for a landing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's great seeing you again. I know I've seen you a lot in different talks and things like that, but it's nice to have you on again, and that you keep on following. But don't you find, even though if you read it, the way Troy walks you through it and makes you think of it in a different way, it makes you go deeper into the work?
Are you muted, Lillian?
Oh, sorry. I just put La Pose on. Yeah. So, Ramy, the way I would see this, I'm going to put myself back. I see you as a mentor. I even call you as my mentor. I talked about your story with my kids because I read your book so many times. I was at your mastermind. So it was like your words is in my mind. And even Troy, there's been times I would call him just some accountability. I'm like, in Ramy's book, he said this, remember? I was like, this is time I got to shift gears. And then it's always in divine timing. Yeah. So it's really being in that spirit, and that energy. That's what the repetition is so powerful. Because, all of us, I believe we could all relate in our own way. We all have our own story, right? But see how when I talk about no excuse and no alibis, like how you came, where you came from, everything, nothing is linear. That chart that you have in the book, I draw it to my son all the time. This is how it is. It's non-linear. It's not linear. At all. Right. And I just always feel like I'm in that spirit with you every time. Like, I have your book here, and this is my favorite. This is the one I'll never give away because you signed it here. So I always just keep it. And that's where, for everyone here, that's when, and this is what Troy does so great. When we're studying a book, we're really listening to what the author is saying, being mentored by it. And, you wrote here to me, Lillian, you are an inspiration for many, including myself. So I use that because,
Yeah.
you know, I always know that there was a point in my life I didn't have a belief in myself. And that was me. I would read all the books, but when I don't believe in myself,
Yeah.
I just stay back. But when I'm surrounded with people like you guys, that's when the growth keeps going. And I remember I was at your mastermind and I asked you, and you said, I was like, when did you know you were a billionaire? You said, like, when I had $75,000 in debt. And it just, I don't know. Like, and I talk about this all the time. Like, I was like, it doesn't matter how much you have in your bank right now.
Yeah,
But
so what's on your mind.
It's what's on your mind. And then being in that energy too, because if I was just with my, you know, with people that's happy earning six figures and talking about that, they think I'm crazy. Right. But when I'm with a setting with people that believes it and actually done it, now it's believable.
Exactly.
You know, and I have this book. Troy's been to my house. He was at my baby shower. This is always on my desk because I would look at it. I'm like, okay, well, this is who I am. This is who I am. I believe, you know, I borrowed your belief in me. I borrowed Troy's belief in me. I borrowed Bob Proctor's belief in me, even Napoleon Hill's, right? So that's how we keep growing. And that's why I always say, like I've been calling you my mentor because I feel you're speaking to me when I'm reading this. So thank you, Ramy.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you again for being part of this.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we'll let Lapozova.
Yes.
And then we have Famit. I can't find her. Is she still here?
I don't know, but we'll go ahead and just go into Leposava.
Okay.
Love you, Lillian. You're amazing.
Love you guys back.
Anyway.
All right, here we go. All right. Unmute. Go for it.
Hello, and thank you again for your time today. I just want to ask. I've seen this happen to some people, and I just thought it would be good to seek some advice from you to give to people that I come across and myself as well. When people become successful in their business, I've seen unfortunately happen is they don't know how to balance their business life with their family life and with themselves. And then it kind of ruins their marriages, and essentially they just kind of marry their own business instead of keeping their families and their even their morals change as well. So how do you find balance in your life with your success and your family and yourself?
Good question. Again, with almost everything is a decision. So they have to decide first that they want that balance. If they think that the only way to live is just to be obsessed with their work and nothing else matters, that's a decision they make, and that's the direction they're going to go. If they decide that they're going to be changed as a different person and they're bitter because of their past and they're going to become cruel and step on everybody to succeed, it's a decision they're making also. So they have to, like at the beginning of the journey, make a decision that, you want to mix balance. Maybe you work harder now, but once you get to a certain point, balance everything. But I decide to, I enjoy what I do, but I decide that I want to spend time with my wife. I decide that I want to enjoy the different things in my life, and I decide that I want everybody to win, and I want people to succeed along with me. So it's really all a decision. And a lot of times also money, you don't change very much from before your money or after you have it. What money does is really just enhances your character. So if you were a bad person before, it just enhances your bad quality. If you were a good person before, it enhances your good qualities. So that's why you see the differences on people that become mean and even more when they get money, but they were that way if they were broke, so the money doesn't change them. It's just a magnifier of who they really are. But again, you could change who you are too, because we've seen people change who they are, and one of the movies I really love, and was Les Miserables, and it wasn't the one with the singing. It's the one with the guy in Taken, Liam Neeson. And there's a point there that he was really a good guy, but because he had to spend 20 years in jail because he just stole a loaf of bread, he became a hardened criminal. And then when he went over a preacher's house, the only person let him sleep in the house. In the middle of the night, he ended up stealing all his silverware and kind of knocked the guy out when he was going to catch him. But when he left, the police caught him and they brought him back. So I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. So when he brought him back, he told the police, "I'm glad you brought him back," you know. And he says, "Oh," he says, "Oh," he tells his maid, "Bring the chandelier." He says, "You forgot to take these silver chandeliers. They're worth a lot of money." And because he forgave him and showed him that act of kindness and not put him back to jail for the rest of his life, you know, it was such a moment that changed his life. He became a great person after that and helped a lot of people and wouldn't even kill the person who was chasing him for his whole life. So there's moments that changes you. So people who are really bad stuff, if you show forgiveness or promote kind or do something that profoundly affects them and they see the positive things of life or the way people are, they can change also. So it doesn't have to be always a bad person always turn out to be bad, but they have to also want it and see it, and somebody has to kind of sometimes do, you know, cause that reaction or something in their life cause a reaction to shift. But back to your original question, it's basically a decision. You've got to decide you want to balance it or not. If you decide you're going to be just an obsessive worker and that's the only way you think you're going to succeed, then that's the direction you're going to go. Everything is a choice.
That was so good.
Thank you.
No.
That was so good and so freaking simple. It's amazing how it's really super simple. It's our thinking that makes it complicated. Wow, that was so good. So let me go ahead and switch that off there real quick. Thank you, Leposava. You're amazing. That was a great question. All right. So let's see. I know how to switch this here. Okay, there we go. All right, Ramy. I love you, man.
Same here. It was great. Thank you again. I know you're out of town. You did this out of your pure love and heart, and you were all busy this week. I'm glad everything went well over there. Glad that people joined us.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll have more people next week. And again, I'm glad you guys enjoy this chapter. Just take this chapter, just basically proof that all the rest of the book works. So that's the thing about the chapter, is that everything works and the results are there. And so they're just trying to prove out the results from what the work is.
Amazing. All right. So bam, right there, my friends. Use it or lose it. That's it. Don't go, he brought up atrophy. Yep, that's right. It's not going to help you if you don't use your mind.
Yeah.
So we'll dig into this more next week. And then Ramy, like I said, I get back tomorrow night and stuff like that. We'll chat pretty soon. And outside of that, all of you have an amazing, wonderful, spectacular, incredible set of nows, right? Yeah. Set of nows, and be the change that you want to see in this world. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.